All right, Mr. Spencer is going to tell us how a resolution, item F, resolution, you need me to wait on it, 2010-1003, excuse me, 03 regarding ballpark light improvements, and resolution 2010-1004 regarding ballpark improvements. I'll let him talk about both of them at the same time. The bids have came back on the ballparks, and the bids were done very innovatively, where there's a lot of things that can be changed and moved around and things like that. He's going to talk about that, about the bids, about how many people bid these parts, and how and all that. Okay, Mr. Spencer.
Mayor, as you said, we took bids in two components on September 16th. One was for ball field lighting because it's fairly specialized as far as getting the lighting for the ball fields. It's not normal for a package to do the fields and then the lighting. You have some savings bidding them separately because the general contractor doesn't mark it up 15%. They have in the contracts, they have to work together in putting the part together. The first bid that we received was the athletic sports field lighting and electrical. That's all underground lighting, the electrical control building, everything that is associated with that. We received, I believe, a total of 6 bids. The low bid was S&G Water Electric. The total amount of bid was $432,889.89. We did have a deductive alternate in there, and that was the lighting of the soccer field, which what I would recommend that we do is award the total amount of bid to the $432,889, and with the option to deduct alternate number 1 at a future date. We'll award the total amount, but then reserve that to take it out if we elect to. The only thing that would do is we would put them on notice not to order that electrical equipment at that time, and then we would take that out later. It might slow it up a little bit, but the soccer fields is you know, they're important to light, but I think we need to work through some things, see if we can have a savings there.
Plus, we may have potential for some grant type situation that we've discussed for those bids, and that's why he alternated those.
Is that item 9, so that we can change the resolution if there's a motion? Is that what you're talking about?
Could we say
an option to deduct item 9 off their bid?
Yes, that would be bid alternate number 1.
Okay. And item 9 is what you're talking about as an option.
My recommendation was to award the bid to the lowest and best bidder, which was S&G Water Electric. I did check their references. They have done ball fields in the past. I have not worked directly with them before, but they seem to be, they've done some work recently, and I checked what they've done, and they're capable of doing it.
All right. Y'all got any questions on the ball field lighting part of it?
Yeah, it says underground wiring.
Everything's underground, yes, sir.
Should that include the poles?
Yes, sir. That, in this case, you know, to kind of remind you, we're lighting 5 fields that are in the ball field complex, plus the alternate of the soccer field. And now they're metal poles instead of concrete poles. There's some savings there. Metal has about the same service life as concrete. We did have one contractor bidded as concrete, but they were not low bid. The lighting system is Musco Lighting Systems, which is probably one of the better lighting systems out there. There were 2 qualified lighting systems. One was Musco, the other was Quaylite. Quaylite only had 1 contractor. They were out of Georgia that turned in bid.
It's the special lights that won't backflow into the neighborhood.
Right. got screens on all of them are shielded, so we don't have the lighting going into the neighborhoods, things of that nature.
Anybody else? All right. Go to 2010-1004 regarding ballpark improvements. About how many bids, what the options, and all that.
This will be the next resolution, Mayor.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, sure. This will get you up at one time.
All of on the same day, we received bids on the actual ball field construction. This is construction of the 5 fields, parking, everything that y'all seen previously and approved. The low bid in this case was Costin General Contractors Incorporated. They submitted a bid of $869,779.28. We do have 2 bid alternates in there. Alternate number 1 is the overall water system that goes in up to the fields. It's actually, you bring a water line in and then all the irrigation systems go off of that. We had that separated out. And we also separated out the storm drains and storm drain system. Mayor had said that there was an interest in community support of doing some of that work. I think what we ought to do in this case is award it on the total amount of bid, and then we're going to have a pre-construction meeting and sit down with the contractor and look at what savings we can work out. I really feel like the storm drainage needs to stay in as part of his contract, because if you're going to meet a timeline, we don't need him waiting on someone to install something. And if we did take it out, I think our obligation was the city would buy the materials. A person had offered to use their equipment and labor, provided we paid for the fuel. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of savings there, and I think in the interest of time, it could delay us as much as 6 weeks. And if we get these contracts, the contractor today, we're going to be pushing March.
This 869, 779, is that a lock and key job?
Yes, sir.
So that's concession stand?
No, not the concession stand. Concession stand will be, as we had talked at our park board meeting, is going to be actually volunteer labor. We're going to have to put in, we'll have to buy the materials.
Instead of it in?
Yeah, but you've got community involvement such that they've agreed to do all the labor. You've got an electrical contractor that's agreed to do everything, which we'll have to do that as a separate account.
You gonna oversee it?
Yes, sir. I've got the design on that, and we're going to be getting with them as far as that construction.
Okay, I also wanted to say that Frank and I personally have gone to some businesses and about these park improvements. Of course, you know times are tough, but we're having some very good success. I'm not really at liberty to say what the businesses are right now, but they have gave some very good. They feel like they can contribute at least in kind and materials and things like that, some monetarily, and it's looking pretty good.
Well, it's not only concerning the park, but it's some other public
It's
works
also
projects.
some of the other public works projects to do with maybe our drainage and things like that, and some of the, that's some of them. The other ones are just principally the parks, but it's looking very good. Everybody understands how important it is at this time, and so we're going to keep going to those businesses. I think Mr. Barty's written some letters. I think the Park and Rec's written some letters, and we're going to keep asking for help, because to do all these projects, the scope we want to do, this is a pretty good budget, pretty inexpensive. And we've got a lot of really good people in the community volunteering. I mean, volunteering electrical work, lock work, plumbing work. I mean, it's, it's been so long, people were just I mean, they want to see the city move forward and to help the youth of the city. And even the people who couldn't put the money up, just give us any money, you know. Like I said, I went and begged as much as I could. They said that they would help with in-kind services and they would help with materials and things like that. So when I'm at liberty to divulge those people, I will. I mean, they just, they are all wanting to try to help us. We've got some, we need the help.
Well, even
There's
with,
no doubt about it.
even with the companies saying that they're operating in the red, they see the need. They know that, you know, of course, they're corporate. And, you know, when your bottom line is red, it's kind of hard to get cash. But they see the need of the parks, and they've been very receptive. And I think we can work with these different entities, and they're not only interested in the park, but they're also interested in other infrastructure.
You know, and I'll say this, and this is the hardest thing for me to believe, or to understand, is some of the people who pay the most taxes, do the most for community right now, and rather than asking for money, we ought to be thanking them for what all they've done. They're the ones that are most willing to give us money, which is hard, you know, that's, I mean, they are willing to keep giving to the community. Some of the people, other people that, you know, might not. And it's hard, you know, like I told one person we talked to, I said, you know, I really ought to be over here just thanking you for all you've done for us, but instead I'm over here asking you for more. And they said, we'll help you out.
And they're here to stay. I mean,
That's
even though they're in the red, they're here to stay in Leeds, and they see the need for this.
That's 4 or 5 different places. So we, you know, I thank Mr. Spencer for going with me on that. That's what the numbers came back. And so, you know, but I just wanted to say that people are trying to help us with some of the stuff, but that doesn't include the concession stand. That's right.
Also, I just wanted to add, I have worked with Costa General Contractors in the last 2 years. We built the Fultondale Park together, and they're good to work with, but we need to have pre-construction meetings and need to stay in communication.
And those parks are excellent.
Yes, ma'am. They really turned out nice, and they have good subs. The irrigation sub is a local sub here to Leeds. They're probably one of the best. So I think we've got some local contractors that are involved in these.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Spencer? I didn't mean to butt in there.
Frank, if we approve it as bid, do you need something in this resolution to allow you to take those options and delete them, or is that already in the bid package?
The way I would word it is to award it on base bid, with the option for the city to negotiate out the alternates.
Okay, for both bids?
For both bids.
Okay, we need to make that change then whenever we pass this resolution.
Okay.
That would keep us from having to go back to the council for a change order for those alternates.
That would be less.
Yes, that would be
Right.
more.
Right. To save money, not to increase money. All right. Y'all want to take them together or one at a time?
Just take them together.
All right. Do I hear a motion concerning item F and G, Resolution 2010-1003, Resolution 2010-1004, with the recommended amended resolution that says Mr. Spencer has the right to
Negotiate.
say that.
Well, I would say you have.
Yeah,
The
the
mayor
mayor
I have the right to
Negotiate out the offer.
negotiate out the alternates to save money on the project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, discussion.